welcome to my art channel. How are you today? I hope you are doing awesome. So today is Monday. It's still gloomy. It has been a vortex of cloudy, dark days, and I'm gonna lose my mind. It's been very gloomy and very dark. And I am focusing on my art today because we are practicing self-isolation, which is good. B, it's gloomy out. I can't control the weather. So how about I make a nice, beautiful environment with my art in my studio? So as you can see, some of you have been asking what the heck is behind me. So I'm going to tell you a couple things before we get started. But first, before we get started, I'm going to tell you the supplies we're going to need today. So if you guys remember, we're going to get in touch with our inner Picasso. And what that means is we are going to get loose and goosey and messy with some paint. So first, I'm going to tell you the list we need today. So I'm reusing a tray, you know, because I'm a cheap Ukrainian woman. So I'm reusing a tray I already used. So I put some big globs of my primary colors, so blue, red, and yellow, some white, and some brown. Now, I've used quite a bit, as you can see, and I have a thicker acrylic paint for what we want to do today. Not the thin stuff we used a few days ago with the watercolor and stuff like that. So some thicker stuff, and then you'll be good to go. And then, of course, a brush, and I mentioned we need palette knives. So these are small and big, but if you don't have these, just use a butter knife. Like use a plastic butter knife, or maybe like a plastic fork that you may have. Anything's gonna go. And I also found some cool wrap it up stuff. So if you have like some weird foam or some weird cotton balls or something like that, grab those, and I'll show you how you can incorporate that to your art as well today. And then I set a canvas panel, but as I was cleaning my studio, I found this wonderful piece of cardboard here. And what's great about this is I'm going to recycle, because again, cheap Ukrainian artist, but also it's rigid enough that it's actually a really awesome surface to do some art on. It's going to be perfect for today. So you can see it's pretty thick, not cardboard, not construction paper, but a bit thicker, quite a bit thicker. Okay, so run along, go get those materials, and then I have a couple things I want to share with you today. So some of you have been asking what the heck is behind me. So over here is actually an illustration I did for a logo. Up here is a sketch I haven't painted yet, and same with this lady here. So I blew her up. This original sketch was about this big, but I actually blew her up. You can see I blew her up, and I made her into this giant painting that one day I will do. And then this guy is one of my illustrations for a client as well that I blew up. So being an artist is awesome. There's so much flexibility, and there's so much you can do with doing art. So that's why I love art. Art. So welcome back. We're gonna get started. I have my rigid piece of paper here, my rigid cardboard. Now what I want you to do is grab your paint and grab your palette or fork or whatever you have, and we're gonna mix. So again, you can watch right through this, or you can do it step by step, but if you watch through, then you'll get a sense where we're going, and then you will maybe have a great idea what you'd like to try with this technique, okay? Awesome. So what I'm gonna do is mix a bit of blue, so you can see it's quite thick, a bit of blue with my white, create a beautiful sky. So you see I'm going back and forth, mix, 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 no trick, la 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 la. It's actually very fun to mix with a palette knife or a fork or whatever you have. And then I'm going to scoop up that paint. You can see here I scooped it up. Now because I'm not an octopus, you have to watch here. So here we go. So I'm going to apply with my palette knife. And you see those little neat little dark spots that I'm getting? I'm just going to leave those in. And look at, I'm even going to like clean off my knife like I'm making a sandwich. So look at that, we're spreading like we're making a sandwich. Sandwiches, I love sandwiches. You know what I love? Bologna and mustard. Oh, that's the best sandwich. The best sandwich. Okay, so see how a little bit goes a long way, But I don't want you to smear too much. What I want you to do is grab even more of this paint. So I'm just grabbing more paint, and we're gonna layer it on. So nice and thick. So you see how I have these ridges here happening? Wonderful. And even I'm gonna grab some 100% dark of my blue here. See how that's naturally dark? So, and then I'll grab a bit more dark and just slop that in. So I'm gonna hold it at the side here so you can see. See how thick that is? We are getting super crazy here with the paint, and you can make little ridges. So if you made a ridge like this, see that ridge right there? That's gonna dry like that, and it's gonna actually look so awesome. When you see the final piece I have for you to see today, you'll see where I'm going with this. And then I'm gonna add some white up here for my clouds, just straight on white. I'm going into my palette here to get some white. And then maybe I'm gonna mix some, I'll show you. I'm gonna mix some blue and yellow. What does that make? Blue and yellow make green. Makes green. Super fun, super fast. Making green over here. You can see, making the green. You can see why we wanted a lot of thick paint, right? So there we go. I added some white to lighten it up a bit. I want like a super limey green field. So I grabbed all of it on my palette knife. And we're gonna sploosh it on. Sploosh, squishy, squishy. Just mush that around. Now what does that already look like? That's already looking like a field, a beautiful summer field. Oh, summer. Summer, the best word in the world. Summer's coming, honestly, I promise. So that's already looking like a field, and I'm gonna leave it all choppy like that, because to me that's the point of our project today. We're gonna leave it loose and goosey, do some palette knife work, and then I'm even gonna add, because I took red out, and dang it, I'm gonna use this red. I'm gonna add some little poppies in here. What? You're like, what? Look how loose that is. So then when you hold it from far away, doesn't that look pretty awesome? I think so. So then when I said grab those extra materials, so you can use these. So I have this Rapida stuff. If you've had a cotton ball, I'm going to show you the piece I did. Oh my. The piece I did to show you the final has a bit of cotton balls in there. But this stuff, so let's say I had a little piece. This stuff is not easy to cut with your hands. So let's say I had a little piece like this, and I wanted to incorporate it into my field. So I would just drop it in the wet paint. And if you have enough wet paint, and you can actually grab more and work that in. See how I'm just splopping it in there? It's actually adding a neat texture. Excuse me. So if you add a neat texture in there, look at that. And that's going to stay right there. So you can get pretty funky. Now I'm going to show you my final. This gives you the idea how I got there. But I'm going to show you my final here and let you see the magic I created using my palette knife. So here we are. So a bit more time than 5 seconds. So here I have the cotton. So I'll hold it up over here. So here I have the cotton, and you can hear, let you hear that, it's actually hard. Because what I did was I placed the cotton on top the wet sky, and then I painted over top, made it like almost part shellac, like part of a varnish over top with the paint. And then I added some, actually our friend tissue paper from Friday. I added some tissue in there and then just painted over top. So you can see, I'll hold it at the edge here, how textural it is from all the angles. You see how high the cloud is? And you see over here, so we got the field, and then we have the clouds. And then I just left it super loose and goosey. And then I just went in, let it dry, went back in, spent a bit of time. I probably spent about an hour and a half on this guy. And then I just quickly painted my edges, finished it off, and it looks like a little sweet little landscape for you. So that's where we're going with this project today. I hope it gives you some inspiration. I know I love working with textural mixed media. So if you found stuff like tissue, like I said, cotton, even tissue paper, like the stuff you blow your nose with, you could just put that in, or toilet paper, or what other would be a cool texture? Even if you had some leftover sponges, maybe you could get lots of wet paint and squish that in, make that part of your piece. I want you to get creative. So I hope you had fun with this. So thank you for joining me. That's what we're doing today. And for tomorrow, we are gonna do some color pencil. So here we go, guys. Here's our list. So for Tuesday, color pencil. So we call those, in the art world, we call them color pencil, but really they're pencil crayons. I have fancy ones here with all sorts of colors, but if you don't have these fancy ones, you can just use regular stuff from Crayola or whatnot, and it'll do the trick. I'll show you some tricks with that. And then paper and a pencil. So again, color pencil, paper, and a pencil for tomorrow. But before we go, I have something to show you. Some of you may know I love birds. Who doesn't love birds? But I love birds, and I love to paint birds. So I wanted to show you my little bird creation here before you go. This little guy. So I've probably painted about 12 birds since I've been painting birds, and they've all sold. I'm very fortunate. I'm very lucky. But this little guy, I just don't have the heart to sell him. He's one of my favorite little guys. I'm going to show you really close. We can see him. So you can see he's an original painting. And what I love about him is just how the colors turned out. Now, normally, you know, like when I do painting, I want to sell it, but there's just something about this little guy. I think he's my little pet. He's my little pet bird. And actually place him on a couple items that when I do markets and stuff. But I just love this guy. He makes me happy. And the reason why I want to show you him today is because that's the reason we're doing art, right? Art makes you so happy. I hope you feel good doing art. And don't beat yourself up if something doesn't turn out. Like I said before, sometimes I even do art that I hate. Just part of the process. So give yourself some slack, you guys. Give yourself a bit of self-love. Don't beat yourself up. Just know that you're trying your best, and if it makes you happy, do it. So I just wanted to show you something that made me happy. He sits in my studio here on my shelf over there, and I look at him and I get happy. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed today's class. Thank you so much for joining me. It was a pleasure spending time with you today. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, 4 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Join me on my channel, and have a great day, and thank you again.